محمد رسول الله أرجو رضاك يا الله أنت الرحيم يا الله هبني عطاك يا الله أنت الكريم منك العطاء يا الله أنت العظيم يا الله فيك الرجاء.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to another episode of Characteristics of the Caller. Today we want to talk about being a stranger, adopting that mentality, characteristic of being a stranger. What does that mean, being a stranger? The ghuraba. Who are these ghuraba? Ibn Umar relates that the Prophet ﷺ placed his hand on his shoulder. So the Prophet placed his hand on the shoulder of Abdullah ibn Umar. And he said, SubhanAllah, this way of the Prophet ﷺ creating this closeness. This itself, brothers and sisters, is a lesson for the caller to Islam. Placing your hand on someone's shoulder. Creating this connection with another human being. It's a way of creating intimacy, trust, concern between you and another human being. Of course, it's not allowed for a man to do this to a woman or for our sisters when they're giving dawah to a man. But with someone who is of the same sex, of course, you can do that to create that connection. It makes a person pay attention. It makes a person feel that you are concerned about them. Subhanallah. So the Prophet put his hand on the shoulder of Abdullah ibn Umar and he said to him, be in this world as if you are a stranger or a traveler. And then after that, Ibn Umar used to say, when the night comes, do not wait for the day. And when the day comes, do not wait for the night. Take from your health for your sickness and take from your life for your death. And this was collected by Bukhari in his Sahih. Brothers and sisters, the general meaning of this hadith is to give impetus to us to work hard. This is what Ibn Umar, he understood from what the Prophet ﷺ said. Don't imagine that you are in this world for more than a night and a day. If you are there in the day, don't imagine you're going to reach the night. And in the night, do not imagine that you're going to reach the day. When you have health, prepare, do work for that time when you are sick and you're not going to be able to. And this time now, your life is the time to make effort because soon you are going to die. So brothers and sisters, I want you to remember this hadith because we will be talking in another episode about laziness and how to deal with laziness and procrastination. Because it's not only about positive characteristics that you need to imbibe, we also need to learn how to get rid of negative characteristics. That's all part of improving our character. So brothers and sisters, being a stranger, what does it mean? Well, think about a person who is a foreigner. Usually a foreigner, someone who is in a strange land, does not much enjoy the company of other people. He generally feels alienated from them, since he rarely happens to come across a person that he knows. Also, he is in a weak position. And he needs to remain on guard because he's not familiar. There are threats that he may not know how to handle. So this is how the stranger, the foreigner is in a strange land. And it's very similar for a traveler, a person who is in the process of traveling. The Prophet ﷺ compared the believers to the stranger, to the foreigner, the person who is visiting a strange land, and to the traveler. The reason the Prophet ﷺ compared the believer and told Abdullah ibn Umar to be like that, to adopt that mentality, to show their asceticism, the simplicity of their life, taking from their world only their basic needs. Because when you are on a journey, brothers and sisters, what do you take with you? You take what you need for that journey. The reality is that when you are traveling, there is only so much that you are really realistically able to take with you. People who are wayfarers, travelers, they learn to travel light. They learn to live light. You see these guys, backpackers. Everything they need, they carry on their back, in their rucksack. So in a way, brothers and sisters, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us to be like that. Be in this world like a backpacker. Think about their life. What do? They sleep in rough places, sometimes, sleeping on the beach. They're eating all types of food, simple food. And what will they do also? They will move from place to place. They're never settling in one place for very long. This is how they live. And they don't accumulate vast possessions. They can't, because they can't carry it with them. So there's a similar narration where the Prophet ﷺ said, what do I have to do with this world? I am like a traveler on a long journey who takes rest underneath the shade of a tree and then continues on his journey. This is how the Prophet ﷺ described the life. What do I have to do with this world? I'm like this traveler. And that's the reality. Life is a journey. From our birth to our death, we are on a journey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are on a journey. This is the life. The life is a journey. The journey, its destination is that day when we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the day of judgment. And it is what we did in this life that is going to determine where we go. Will we go to paradise or will we go to the hellfire? This is the example of taking rest underneath the shade of a tree. Because think about it, if you are on a journey and you're traveling and you don't take rest, what is going to happen? If you are driving a car, you will begin to fall asleep and you will crash the car and you will die and you will not reach your destination. You have to stop to fill up with petrol, to eat some food, drink some coffee, have a snooze maybe. You might even have to stop off in a hotel if it's a long journey. This is the journey. If you're going to a strange country, you'll need perhaps to get a passport, to get a visa, to get some inoculations to protect yourself from the diseases and the things that will harm you. Taqwa is like that inoculation that is going to protect you from the punishment of the hellfire. The passport, the visa, is like La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Then your means of transport that is going to get you to Jannah are your good deeds, brothers and sisters. So what the shade of the tree, the Prophet ﷺ, he's saying, I'm like a traveler on a long journey who takes rest underneath the shade of the tree. That's what he's saying. This life is like that moment when he's taking rest underneath the shade of the tree. What it means is, I'm only staying there for as long as I need to in order to complete my journey. This is not my destination. This is not my end goal. I'm just taking what I need in order to get to the destination that I want to get to. And what do I need from this world? What do we need from this world, brothers and sisters? We need good deeds. We need righteous deeds. Because that is what is going to get us, inshallah ta'ala, through the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in reality, it is the mercy of Allah. We can't earn paradise as such. Whatever good you can do, you can't pay for paradise. But it's the mercy of Allah that gets you to go to paradise. But what does Allah want from you? He wants from you good deeds. And one of the great ways to earn good deeds, one of the greatest ways, the best ways to earn good deeds is by being a caller to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By calling to His deen. By inviting people to La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. So this is the example of the life of this world. Take from it what you need. And what do you need? The good deeds to reach the akhirah. This is what the Prophet ﷺ is saying. This is the example that he ﷺ, he is giving. Be in the world like a stranger. And the Prophet said ﷺ in another narration, glad tidings to the strangers. Glad tidings to the strangers. Islam came as something strange. and it will return as something strange. So glad tidings to the strangers. We're going to take a short break, and we'll talk more about the strangers when we come back.
لا إله إلا الله رمضان المحسنين.
This is Akthar saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to all viewers of Peace TV. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all Muslims to fast this month of Ramadan and to accept their fasting.
Every human being can agree to disagree or disagree to agree. Dispute superstitions and refute the myth which is created around the word religion, which is misinterpreted, misconstrued, and misjudged. Let's wake up from delusion. And step into the world of reality with confidence. Find all the answers to confront or defy, reject or accept, dispute or challenge when caught in crossfire.
Misconceptions clarified, falsehood exposed, and truth revealed. Discover the reality with Dr. Zakir Naik in Crossfire every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 7:30 a.m. India on Peace TV. Peace TV presents over 100 million viewers at one of the largest peace conferences in the world, addressing a sea of spellbound spectators. Over 30 world-renowned orators on Islam with credentials impeccable.
The truth of Islam.
Deen is your way of life.
It is our duty, our obligation.
By following the Quran and Sunnah,
we will give the message to one and all.
With articulation exquisite.
read the book of Allah.
Islam is the easy way. It's the simple way.
Remind each other.
The Muslim is not a source of harm for other people.
Collaborate with the people for good.
This is the call of Islam.
With the mission of spreading the truth of Islam.
Do what you can to spread the word of Islam. Wherever we are.
Live like Muslims.
Use your power.
Allah is saying, why do you need anything else? This Quran is self-sufficient.
The only book on the face of the globe, the Quran.
How a human being should lead his life is given in this instruction manual, the glorious Quran.
For peace to prevail on earth in Peacemakers. Next on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back. We're talking about the strangers. Who are the strangers? Islam came as something strange and it will return as something strange. The Prophet said to Abdullah ibn Umar, be in this world as a stranger. Be in the world as a stranger or a wayfarer. So this has another meaning, brothers and sisters, because the reality is that amongst the vast majority of humanity, when you truly have faith in Allah, when you truly begin to adopt the characteristics that we have been talking about, especially the characteristics of zuhud and living a simple life and being ready to give what you have for others, when you begin to have that attitude of unstinting generosity and kindness, of being merciful and forgiving and not taking revenge, these are some of the things that we have talked about, of having really sincere concern for everybody, then you become strange. And aren't these very characteristics, brothers and sisters, strange in our world today? In the world today that is so immersed in consumerism, where everything seems to be about me, nafsi, nafsi, me, what I want to get, what I need to achieve. Everybody is so busy building their own legacies, building their own empires, and they don't care half the time who they crush and who they tread over and who they exploit in order to get where they want to go. We live in a world where people don't seem to think twice to sell their own relatives, to sell their own mothers. We heard a story of a man who over many, many years he was living in England, and for many, many years he was sending money to his aunt back home. And the reason he was sending money, he assigned some of that money for his aunt, and some of the money was to build a house for himself, so that when he left England, he could go back home, he would have a house to live in and a place to retire, so he could go back home. So the time came for him to return home. So he flew home, he went back to this homeland, and his cousin, the son of his aunt, his cousin, met him at the airport. First cousin met him at the airport. And they started to talk and joke and laugh and remember old times. And then after some time, his cousin began to get visibly upset. And he was driving in a direction, and he said to his cousin, "Where are you taking me? This is not the way home." And then he started to break down. And he said, "You know what? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to take you to the airport, because I have been told by my aunt to take you to such and such place and kill you and then dispose of your body where no one can find it. And you know that money you've been sending us for all of these years? We never built you a house. We used all of that money for ourselves. And the best thing for you to do is get back on the plane and go back and forget about your family over here." This, brothers and sisters, is what is happening in the world today. You'll find a child is ready to kill his parents. This happened in Italy. A young boy killed his parents to get their money, and he became a celebrity and a hero amongst the youth in Italy. That is how sick the world has become. So when you display the qualities that Islam teaches of mercy, caring, compassion, forgiveness, kindness, of just believing in Allah and thinking that the akhirah is the most important goal. There was a time in this world when it was common, actually. That's what most people thought about, at least certainly in Europe and the Middle East. But today, you're a stranger. If you believe in God, even amongst the Muslims, if you're a Muslim who prays 5 times a day, you're a stranger. They have a special word for you. You're a namazi. This is what they call it in Pakistan. Someone who prays 5 times a day, like you're a very strange, particular type of Muslim who actually prays 5 times a day. As if you could be a Muslim and not pray. Subhanallah. As if you could be a Muslim and not pray. This is how strange, let alone if you have decided to give your life to call to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You've given your life for dawah? You want to spend your life calling to Islam? Oh Allah, what a disaster. They're calling on Allah. What a disaster, they're saying in the same breath. We want you to be a doctor. We want you to be an engineer. We want you to bring money into the house. And all the while they forget that these doctors and these engineers, when they get rich, what do they do with their parents? Put them in an old age home. You told me to love the dunya? That's what people who love the dunya do. They throw their parents, get them looked after by someone else. Who is going to care for the elderly? Truly the one who fears Allah. Who is going to keep away from the evil things? Who is going to marry a good woman and bring into this world good children, except the one who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and follows His guidance? But if you do that, you're a stranger. That's how we have to be. We have to be ready to be in this world as strangers, like foreigners, like travelers, like people in a strange land. People look at us funny, and you know what? We look at them funny. This is the reality, brothers and sisters. So, if you are a caller to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you are going to adopt these characteristics, you need to prepare yourself for this strangeness and for being strange. But the Prophet said, glad tidings, tawbah for the strangers. What is tawbah? Tawbah, brothers and sisters, it is said by some that tawbah is a tree in paradise. This tree is so vast that if a fast rider rode underneath this tree for 100 years, they would not reach the center. This is the branches reach out from the center so far that if you rode towards the center for 100 years, even after 100 years of fast riding, you would not reach the center. This is this beautiful tree in Jannah. Glad tidings to the strangers. Who are they? The Prophet ﷺ told us. They are the ones who put right what the people have corrupted of the sunnah, of this deen. That is what they do. They are the callers to Allah. They are the callers to goodness. They are the ones who enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong. A man went to see Abu Dhar and asked him, where are your household effects? He said, we have a house to which we are facing. Meaning, where are your household effects? He said, well, I'm going to another house. It didn't mean I'm moving house, literally from one to another. It means I'm on my way to another house in the akhirah. That's what he means by it. And the man said, you can't avoid having some effects, some possessions while you are here. He said, the owner of the dwelling won't leave us in it. Meaning the one who owns the house that he's in, he's not going to leave him there. Abu Dhar was strange. And he was living at the time, close to the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Ali had this beautiful saying, the world is traveling away and the afterlife is traveling towards us. And each of them has children. So be children of the akhirah and do not be children of the world. Because today is action without reckoning and tomorrow is reckoning without action. One of the wise people said, I am amazed at someone from whom the world is retreating and to whom the akhirah is advancing and who is busy with that which is leaving and turns away from that which is advancing. Fudail ibn Iyad said, the mu'min in the world worries and grieves, and his concern is the repair of his equipment. Again, subhanAllah, this is the example of the traveler. When you're traveling, you're traveling, say, in a car, you're always worried. I have to change the tires, the suspension, the this, to make sure everything's working. This is the mu'min, because this vehicle is going to take me to paradise, and I'm concerned at the state of this vehicle. This is the condition of the mu'min. Al-Hasan said, Al-Hasan al-Basri, he said, the mu'min in the world is like a stranger. He is not impatient about being humble in it, and he does not compete for its precious things. He has a business, and the people have another business. He has a business, and the people have a business, meaning his business is the akhirah. The people's business is the dunya. He doesn't care about their business, he cares about the akhirah. How many people, brothers and sisters, how many people reach the morning and do not reach the evening? How many people reach the evening and do not reach the morning? Brothers and sisters, work hard in this world to reach the akhirah. Allah says in the Quran, the meaning of which is, turn to your Lord and surrender yourselves to Him before the chastisement overtakes you, for then you will receive no help. And follow the best of what has been revealed to you from your Lord before the chastisement suddenly it comes upon you without you even being aware of it. Lest a person should say, alas for me, for neglecting my duty towards Allah and from being amongst those who scoffed. And lest a person should say, if only Allah had guided me, I would have been one of the God-fearing. Or lest a person should say, when he sees the chastisement, oh, that I might return again and be amongst the doers of good. It's in Surah Az-Zumar, the 54th to 58th ayah. Brothers and sisters, everyone will regret on the Day of Judgment. The people who did good will regret they did not do more good, and the people who did evil will regret that they did not leave their evil. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.